Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I want to tell you a story about two more of our human family ambassadors who will teach us about how care and safety come together to bring us stability in our homes, schools, and neighborhoods. The title of this story is Stronger Together: How Care and Safety Create Stability. This lesson helps us learn about the foundation of strong relationships that help us get along and work well together. This story is part of a book series called What We Wish to Be True. It's a group of stories that blend a little make-believe called fiction with real history, geography, and science to help you understand important character traits. Each story is based on a journey from our shared human family so that we can all feel seen, valued, and connected to the bigger human story. This story follows two young ambassadors from Eastern Europe and Western Asia over 1,000 years ago. An ambassador is someone who represents and stands for ideas and activities that are helpful for a group. Doris and Neotat were our first two ambassadors, and Yhorop and Namyelos are two more of the 18 characters in our historical fiction stories who are ambassadors for our amazing human family in the year 1000 AD. That's over 1,000 years ago. They show us that anyone, anywhere, at any age can be a human family ambassador. When we use our unique strengths to care for others and keep them safe, we help bring stability to our home and school, making the world better for everyone to learn, live, and thrive. We come from many different places today, but our DNA shows that we're all part of one human family, migrating, learning, and growing across many generations. When we meet people who believe differently, we can say, "I don't see it exactly that way, but I respect your right to have a view and your right to pursue life that is optimally healthy, happy, and free, and I hope you'll respect mine." Let's say that together. I don't see it exactly that way, but I respect your right to have a view and your right to pursue life that is optimally healthy, happy, and free, and I hope you'll respect mine. That's a mouthful. With practice, you'll get it, and you can make it your own. Learning to live, work, and play with people who see the world differently is a superpower. Are you ready to hear the story titled Stronger Together: How Care and Safety Create Stability? In the town of Persia, high in the Carpathian mountains, lived a boy named Yhorop. He was known for his caring heart. Beside him skipped his companion, Lyska, a playful little mountain goat with soft white fur. Lyska's wool and milk were gifts of the Carpathians, symbols of Yhorop's caring nature. Each morning, Yhorop helped his grandmother tend to their goats. He carried buckets of water, watched over the youngest kids as they leapt among the rocks, and even helped the human kids learn how to carefully watch over the goats. One day, when a goat cut its leg on a sharp stone, Yhorop washed the wound, wrapped it in cloth, and whispered, "Be well, little one. We need you, and I will care for you." From that day on, his village trusted him with more. He became the one who cared for people, for animals, and for their village. But in Persia, not everyone appreciated Yhorop's caring nature. Some boys teased him. "Yhorop is the goat's nurse." They laughed when he bandaged a wounded animal. This was a form of neglect bullying, making choices to not care or making fun of caring, pretending that needs don't matter. But Yhorop didn't back down. Instead, he used humor to disarm them. You know you're all supposed to be watching the goats too. Careful, Lyska listens to me, and you know her favorite snack is onions. How about I get her to breathe her blah oniony breath on you? Then you'll be running back down this path. The boys roared with laughter, not at him, but with him. Little by little, they joined in helping. Yhorop showed them that caring isn't weakness, it's a strength, one that builds stability. When Yhorop was chosen to be an ambassador to the Human Family Summit in Malta, his uncle joined him. Together, they set out by boat, carrying sacks of wool and cheese from their homeland. Their journey would follow the Prut River to the Danube River and on to the Black Sea coastline to the great port city of Constantinople, called Istanbul today, where Yhorop would meet another Human Family ambassador. To the east, in Western Asia, in the mountains of Takht Soliman, on the southern coast of the Caspian Sea, lived a boy named Namyelos. He was known for his gift of safety. From his earliest days, Namyelos was careful and wise. He watched the mountain fires so they would not spread. He tied knots tightly so bundles would not fall. And he reminded younger children to walk steadily along steep paths. Safety, Namyelos said, is how we show respect for life. In the valleys near Takht Soliman, children often helped tend the sheep and goats. Some of the older boys thought it was funny to scare the younger children. They would whisper, "A wolf is hiding behind that rock." Or they would shout, "If you drop your stick, the herd will run away and you will be blamed." The little ones grew frightened. Their hands would shake as they would try to do their work. This was a kind of bullying called fear bullying. This made others feel unsafe just for fun. Namyelos stepped in. With Shabazz the eagle circling overhead, he spread his arms calmly, just like the eagle. No wolves are near. Look at Shabazz. He would call if there was any danger. Let's focus on keeping the flock safe. The younger children relaxed, holding their tools with more confidence. Their staffs to keep the sheep and goats safe, and the rods to guide them to safety. That day, Namyelos proved that safety was not about scaring others. It was about making sure that no one had to live in fear. Sometimes, when the sun dipped low, Namyelos would use his iron fire striker to spark a small flame. He showed the younger ones how light could push back the shadows. See, fire can be our friend when we use it wisely and safely, he said. Eventually, the older boys were influenced by Namyelos's courage and calm. One even said, "Well, you're right. We need to be helpful to everyone to make our town as strong as it can be. Sorry, guys." When Namyelos was chosen to join the summit in Malta, his grandfather traveled with him. They carried a gift from their homeland, a finely made iron tool hammered from their mountain ore, a symbol of safety and protection. Beside him soared his companion, Shabazz, a golden eagle with fierce eyes and mighty wings. Trained by Namyelos's grandfather, Shabazz circled high above, watching for danger, guiding their steps. Their journey led them north and west. First, they traveled along the coast of the Caspian Sea, then followed the Kura River through the Caucasus Mountains. From there, they boarded a ship that carried them across the wide waters of the Black Sea, until at last they arrived in Constantinople, Istanbul today, where the Golden Horn Harbor bustled with traders from 3 continents. There they would meet Yhorop. Both boys were learning, even on their journey, that their gifts mattered. At last, their boats reached the grand city of Constantinople, where the Golden Horn Harbor curved like a great arm of the sea. This was their agreed meeting place. Both boys had been told, when you reach Constantinople, find merchant Demetrius at the Golden Horn. He sells grain and oil, and he is known for fairness. There you will meet your fellow ambassador. The harbor was alive with color and sound. Ships from Africa, Asia, and Europe unloaded their cargo. Donkeys brayed. Children carried baskets. Merchants called out their wares. Here, people of many cultures met, not always perfectly, but with respect enough to trade and live side by side. Demetrius stood at his stall, arranging sacks of grain and jars of olive oil. His wife, Eris, a respected merchant herself and a descendant of Aristotle, marked tallies on a wooden board, ensuring every trade was fair. Their children bustled about. Namyelos, strong and steady, tied ropes around heavy sacks. Sophia, bright and quick, offered bread to weary travelers. Baby Andreas perched on Eris's hip, laughing at the fluttering sails. Their stall was more than a business. It was a family, a picture of care and safety working together to create stability. Yhorop arrived first, with his uncle leading Lyska the goat and carrying sacks of wool. He saw Sophia handing bread to a barefoot child and smiled. Care, he thought, is everywhere. Soon after, Namyelos arrived with his grandfather, Shabazz circling overhead before settling on his arm. He saw Nicholas, double-checking the ropes of grain on the sacks. Safety, he thought, is everywhere. The two young men approached the stalls at the same moment. Demetrius's deep voice rang out with joy. Here they are! In their hearts, Yhorop carries care and Namyelos carries safety, and together they will bring the lessons of stability to the Human Family Summit in Malta. The family gathered to greet and welcome them. As the young men rested at the stalls, their companions spoke. Yhorop's uncle said, "Do you see? These markets are more than just trade. They're places where people agree to fairness." Namyelos's grandfather added, "Here we glimpse the beginning of liberty, people caring for one another, keeping each other safe, respecting each other's needs." The boys nodded. Yhorop glanced at Lyska, who nuzzled Sophia's hand with her soft nose. Namyelos glanced upward to check on Shabazz, whose golden eyes swept the crowd from above. Their animals, too, seemed to understand this harbor was a place where trade, learning, and stability could grow. "May this city always be a place of safety and security," Yhorop said softly, "a stable place for our humanity to trade, to learn, and to care for one another. And may that liberty, where everyone can pursue helpfulness, never be broken or disrupted," added Namyelos. "We still have a long way to go to create fairness for everyone, but we can be on the right path if we're all willing to chip in and do our part." Suddenly, a murmur rose in the crowd. A great elephant and her calf appeared, brought by a ship from Africa as a gift of stability to the city. Children ran to see, their eyes wide with curiosity as they watched the elephants be led to the beautiful nature reserve on the outskirts of the city. Demetrius smiled. "Look closely. Elephants are teachers of stability. In the wild, they care for every calf, not only the mothers, but aunts and sisters, fathers and uncles too. When danger comes, the adults form a circle, placing the young inside, guarding them with their strength. Care and safety together. That is stability." Sophia giggled, "Like a fortress made of elephants." Nicholas laughed. "No wonder they can carry such heavy loads. Their strength comes from their family first." The children laughed, and the boys realized that the elephants mirrored what they had been learning all along, and what they were now tasked with representing at the Great Decennial Summit in Malta. Care plus safety equals stability. Just then, a boy named Theodore, his eyes bright with curiosity, stepped forward. "Is it true?" he asked. "We've heard of the brilliant spark that shines from the human family building blocks. Can we see it just once before you leave for Malta?" The market hushed. Yhorop and Namyelos exchanged a glance, then carefully drew from their packs the blocks handed down from their ambassador predecessors. "Stand back," Namyelos cautioned with a steady smile. As the two blocks touched, a great spark leapt into the air, bursting into a steely flare of light that filled the whole harbor. The elephant and her calf lifted their trunks and trumpeted a jubilant blare, as though announcing to all stability had arrived. Gasps of laughter rippled through the crowd, mingled with murmurs of wonder and hope. The spark had lit not only the marketplace, but also the hearts of all who saw it. And so, when Yhorop and Namyelos set sail toward Malta, they did not leave alone. They carried with them the hopes of a city, that wellness, safety, and friendship might continue to spread, making the world a better place to live, learn, and thrive. With blessings from Demetrius and Eris, and smiles from Nicholas, Sophia, and little Andreas, the ambassadors prepared to continue their journey. They carried with them the wool and cheese of the Carpathian mountains, symbols of care, the iron tool of the Persian mountains, a symbol of safety, the companionship of their animals, Lyska the goat and Shabazz the golden eagle, and most of all, the growing understanding that care plus safety equals stability. As their ship left the Golden Horn Harbor, the people waved and called out words of hope. Yhorop leaned on the rail, Lyska pressed close at his side. Namyelos stood tall, Shabazz's wings spread wide in the air. Both boys knew the spark they had shared was not the ending. It was only the beginning. Ahead lay Malta, a place where paths of many ambassadors would cross, a place where stories, symbols, and strengths would melt together, a place to stand, not for themselves alone, but for the whole human family. The sea stretched before them like a promise. With every wave that carried them closer, they held fast to the truth. When we care for everyone and keep everyone safe, we build the kind of stability that makes our world a place where everyone can live better together. For Yhorop and Namyelos, Malta was more than a place on the map. It was the symbol of what happens when people come together to share their own unique wisdom, to care for one another, and create safety for all. Malta represented the dream of stability, where people could trade fairly, live peacefully, and treat one another with respect. Now think about you. What is your Malta? Can you think of a time and place in the future where you can make life fair and safe for others? What gifts do you carry with friendship and fairness? Are you someone who listens and protects, who includes others, who stands up for what's right? Who travels with you? Who are your friends, your pets? Who is your family? How will you live to build liberty? Liberty means respecting differences while making sure everyone has the same chance to live, learn, and grow with stability. The end. Next time, we will learn about 2 more human family ambassadors traveling to the Human Family Summit in Malta. And don't forget, if you need a refresher on how to make your best choices in your own life, you can go back and watch the Healthy, Happy, Free videos. Until next time, keep making choices that include all 3 to be healthy, happy, and free.